from Smoky Mountains, Tennessee, and you're here in the city, New York City, and a lot of people say they love New York, but are you comfortable here? I mean, it's so different from the way you grew up.
Well, late 60s, early 70s, and I had just started making a name in country music, so of course
When a rarely seen teenage photo of Dolly Parton resurfaced online, fans expected a glimpse of the young dreamer who would become a legend. But no one anticipated the stir it caused. The image revealed a bold confidence far beyond her years, hinting at the fire and ambition that shaped her rise to country music royalty. As conversations erupted about what the picture truly showed and why it vanished for decades, one question echoed everywhere. What story was this snapshot quietly hiding from the public until now? Why Dolly's early beauty drew so much attention. Long before Dolly Parton became a household name, her early photos, especially those taken in her teenage years, revealed something unmistakable. A natural beauty and charisma that seemed far too striking for a girl raised in a one-bedroom cabin deep in the Smoky Mountains. When people revisit those images today, they often do a double take. There's a confidence in her eyes, a poise in her posture, and a camera-ready glow that didn't just hint at stardom, it practically announced it. Part of what makes Dolly's early beauty so captivating is how effortlessly it emerged. She wasn't polished by stylists, groomed by Hollywood, or refined by fame. Her magnetism came naturally. Even as a small child, family photos show her instantly leaning toward the lens, smiling with a brightness that made her the focal point of every frame. By the time she reached her teenage years, that spark had blossomed into something far more noticeable. Her facial features sharpened, her smile matured, and her expressions carried a charm that made her look worlds apart from the life she was living. Fans seeing these old images often remark that Dolly looked like a star long before she became one, and that assessment isn't wrong. Dolly's early physical development, coupled with her instinctive sense of performance, gave her a presence that couldn't be ignored. Even in simple clothing or modest hairstyles, she looked like she belonged on a stage, not in a tiny Appalachian cabin. This contrast between appearance and reality is what makes her early photos so compelling. Dolly grew up in poverty so deep that her father once paid a doctor with a bag of oatmeal, and her family slept 3 or 4 to a bed to stay warm on freezing nights. Yet despite these hardships, her youthful photos portray a girl who looked ready for magazine covers. Her beauty, however, wasn't just physical. It was tied to an inner confidence shaped by music, family love, and a natural flair for storytelling. Her charisma was a glow that no poverty, hardship, or rural isolation could dim. This is why those old images, even the innocent teenage ones, captured so much attention. They showed a young woman whose star had already begun to shine, long before the world ever learned her name. But here's the real puzzle. How did a girl with nothing but raw talent manage to shine so brightly at her early stage? Stick with us to find out. The first spark of a rising star. As we step into the early chapters of Dolly Parton's story, one particular image pulls us in with surprising force. A modest photograph of a 14-year-old girl in 1960 who had no idea the world would one day know her name. The picture is simple, almost ordinary at first glance. Yet there's something about it that refuses to fade from memory. Dolly stands with her short, neat hairstyle framing her youthful face, a soft but confident smile resting on her lips. She has traded the striped shirt familiar from earlier snapshots for a plainer, more natural look, as if quietly signaling a shift happening inside her. Though the exact setting remains a mystery, the polished feel of the image suggests it might have been taken for school, even as everything about her expression hints that she was already thinking far beyond the classroom walls. What makes this photograph so intriguing is not the pose or the clothes. It's the presence. Even without stage lights or microphones, teenage Dolly looks like a young woman on the edge of something extraordinary. That sense didn't appear out of nowhere. Long before the click of that camera, Dolly had already begun shaping her future, one small step at a time. Her first spark of musical discovery arrived early. As a little girl, she sat beside her mother and created her first song. Nothing fancy, just a heartfelt tune born in their humble Tennessee home. Yet this tiny act revealed a talent far too powerful to ignore. Her uncle Bill Owens saw it instantly. Inspired by what he heard, he handed her a guitar, unknowingly placing the most important tool of her life into her hands. From that moment, Dolly didn't simply sing, she worked. By age 10, she was performing on Knoxville's Cass Walker Show, becoming a familiar face to audiences who sensed something special in the small, bright-eyed girl. Her voice, her charm, and her eagerness to perform made her stand out among children twice her age. Not long afterward, at just 13, Dolly signed her first recording contract with Gold Band Records. The ink on that deal wasn't simply a formality. It was the key that opened the door to stages she had only dreamed of standing on. One of those stages was the legendary Grand Ole Opry. There, under glowing lights and surrounded by country music giants, Dolly found herself sharing the spotlight with Johnny Cash. For a girl barely in her teens, it wasn't just an achievement. It was a defining moment, the kind that rewrites the course of a life. All these pieces, a childhood song, a gifted guitar, early performances, a record deal, a chance on the Opry stage, form the hidden architecture behind that quiet photograph of a 14-year-old Dolly. The picture shows a girl growing into herself, but the truth is, she was already standing at the threshold of greatness. But before diving into the twists, triumphs, and unforgettable moments that made her a global icon, let's first trace the humble beginnings that made it all possible. Dolly Parton, Roots of Resilience. Dolly Parton's story begins long before the glittering stages, the sequins, or the global fame, a story anchored in the quiet strength of a family navigating life in the Smoky Mountains. Born on January 19, 1946, in a tiny one-bedroom cabin in Sevier County, Tennessee, Dolly entered a household already alive with energy, love, and the struggles of a family of 12 children. Her parents, Robert Lee Parton and Avie Lee Caroline Owens, married in 1939, when Lee was just 16, beginning a life defined by devotion, creativity, and unyielding perseverance. The cabin itself, though modest, became a sanctuary of warmth and unity. It is easy to imagine the frigid Appalachian nights, where the line between necessity and comfort blurred. Children huddled together for warmth, sometimes in the most awkward and humorous ways, learning early that closeness could transform hardship into shared resilience. The Partons' home, while small, became a crucible for character, shaping Dolly's unshakable spirit and early sense of independence. Dolly's mother, Avie Lee, was a force of nurturing creativity, weaving love into every corner of their lives. When the family faced financial hardships, her ingenuity became a lifeline. One of the most telling stories of this resourcefulness occurred when young Dolly, at the age of 6, injured her toe leaping over a fence. Without access to a doctor, Avie Lee applied cornmeal to the wound, a common household staple, while Robert Lee cleaned it with kerosene to prevent infection. Then, with gentle precision, she sewed the toe back into place. This blend of practicality, courage, and care was a hallmark of the Parton household and an early lesson for Dolly in resilience, resourcefulness, and the value of hands-on problem-solving. Robert Lee Parton, meanwhile, embodied steadfast determination. From his early days as a sharecropper to running a small tobacco farm, he sustained his family through relentless work. Even when money was tight, like the time he paid the midwife for Dolly's birth with a humble sack of cornmeal, he never wavered in support. His dedication extended beyond provision. He encouraged each child to pursue their dreams, laying the foundation for Dolly's eventual musical journey. The partnership between Robert and Avi Lee, one grounded in love, discipline, and practicality, was the cornerstone of the environment that shaped Dolly's early years. Life in the Smoky Mountains was a hands-on education in self-sufficiency. The Partons cultivated crops, raised chickens, and hunted wildlife, transforming the rugged landscape into a source of sustenance and independence. Trips to the store were rare, reserved for essentials like coffee or sugar, while the family relied on the land's abundance for daily needs. From beans and potatoes to turtles and groundhogs, Dolly learned the value of hard work and ingenuity at a young age. These experiences instilled in her an appreciation for simplicity, a connection to the land, and the determination to thrive despite limitations. Even as a child, Dolly displayed the magnetic charm and confidence that would later define her public persona. Photographs from her early years capture a bright-eyed girl already drawn to the camera, a hint of the charisma and presence that would later captivate audiences worldwide. By 5, she was already exploring the world around her with energy and curiosity, and by 9, her poise and radiant smile foreshadowed the stage-ready star she was destined to become. The interplay of familial support, mountain life, and innate charm created the ideal environment for her growth, one where resilience met creativity and hardship met warmth. The Parton family's story is not merely a backdrop for Dolly's eventual fame. It is an intricate tapestry of ingenuity, love, and determination. Every challenge they faced, from frigid winter nights to scraped toes and financial scarcity, became a lesson in survival and togetherness. It is within this intimate, rugged world that the roots of Dolly Parton's strength, empathy, and enduring appeal were first nurtured. But with roots this rugged and tender, how did her very first song quietly spark a legacy the world would someday celebrate? Stay with us to see. Little Tiny Tassel Top, the spark of Dolly's music. Dolly Parton's journey into music began not on a stage, but on the worn wooden porch of her family cabin in Sevier County, Tennessee. At just 5 years old, she couldn't read or write, yet a spark of creativity burned brightly within her. One afternoon, inspired by a simple corncob doll her mother had crafted, with tassels of corn silk for hair, Dolly began singing an impromptu, charming tune about her tiny companion. The song, full of youthful imagination, revealed a natural ability to tell stories through music, even at such a tender age. Recognizing the magic in her daughter's voice, her mother carefully wrote down the lyrics, preserving the first seeds of a musical legacy that would one day enchant millions. Life in the Smoky Mountains was harsh, with freezing winters and a cabin offering little comfort. The Parton children slept on straw-filled mattresses, wore patchwork clothing, and lived with constant scarcity. Yet warmth entered Dolly's world through her mother, Avi Lee, a gifted seamstress who turned salvaged fabrics into vibrant coats. One of these coats, made to protect Dolly from the cold, later inspired her iconic song, Coat of Many Colors, capturing the love and lessons of her early years. In these moments, singing to a corncob doll, feeling the warmth of a patchwork coat, Dolly's creativity and storytelling began to bloom. The echoes of her tiny Tassel top song carried far beyond the porch, hinting at a future star who would turn the simplicity and struggle of her childhood into music that speaks to the heart. Moving to Nashville, the leap into stardom. As the echoes of Dolly Parton's childhood melodies faded into memory, a new chapter of her life began, one that demanded courage, ambition, and a leap into the unknown. In 1964, at the age of 18, Dolly left the comfort and familiarity of her Sevier County home, stepping into the bustling streets of Nashville, Tennessee, a city pulsing with opportunity, competition, and the promise of musical dreams waiting to be realized. The move was not just geographical. It marked the start of a daring journey to carve out a place in the notoriously challenging world of country music. Nashville in the mid-60s was a whirlwind of studios, honky-tonks, and record labels, each brimming with talent and ambition. Dolly's first encounter with the industry came at Monument Records, where she dabbled in pop music, exploring the nuances of recording, performance, and songwriting. Yet, it wasn't long before her distinctive voice and natural charm demanded a different path. Collaborating with her uncle, Dolly began crafting songs that resonated far beyond her years, capturing the industry's attention with early hits like Put It Off, Until Tomorrow, and The Company You Keep, both performed by Bill Phillips and both climbing into the top 10. Her songwriting prowess continued to grow with Fuel to the Flame, composed for Skeeter Davis, which reached number 11 and solidified her reputation as a formidable talent behind the scenes as well as on stage. Life in Nashville, however, was not all recording studios and chart climbs. To sustain herself, Dolly worked diligently at a local restaurant and spent weekends navigating the humbler routines of daily life, folding laundry at the laundromat Wishy-Washy. It was there, amid the spinning machines and soap-scented air, that fate intervened in the form of a chance encounter. A young man caught her eye, sparking a connection that would later blossom into lifelong partnership. Carl Dean, reflecting on that moment, described it simply yet profoundly. He knew instantly that he wanted to marry her. Their meeting, seemingly ordinary at the time, would evolve into a bond that endured for decades, proving that even amidst ambition and struggle, life could surprise with its quiet, transformative moments. In Nashville, Dolly Parton was no longer just the little girl from the Smoky Mountains. She was a young woman forging her path, navigating challenges, and discovering that talent, determination, and serendipity could intersect in the most extraordinary ways. But with destiny unfolding in laundromats and studios alike, what unexpected turn would push Dolly fully into the spotlight? Stay with us to find out. Dumb Blonde and Dreams of Her Own. Dolly Parton's early career was a careful dance between ambition and instinct, a journey that began in the mid-1960s when she hesitantly signed with Monument Records. Although the label seemed far from the perfect match for her, it became the launching pad for her solo career, a first step into a world she had long dreamed of joining. Dolly's heart, however, always beat in time with country music, and her debut single, Dumb Blonde, perfectly showcased her connection to the genre. Though she hadn't written the song, her rendition transformed it into a country hit, climbing to number 24 on the charts and announcing the arrival of a young talent destined to command attention. On September 18, 1967, Dolly's first solo album, Hello, I'm Dolly, was released. It marked a significant milestone in her life, yet it would also be her only record with Monument Records, a fleeting but pivotal chapter in her ascent. At 19, Dolly was already navigating the spotlight with a poise and charm beyond her years, learning to balance public attention with the delicate task of shaping her artistic identity. Photographs from this period reveal a young woman on the cusp of transformation, her signature high-voltage smile radiating warmth, confidence, and a hint of mischief, while her outlandish, voluminous hair hinted at the glamour that would become inseparable from her persona. This period of visual evolution mirrored the growth of her career, each image capturing the emergence of the Dolly Parton we recognize today. A combination of talent, determination, and unmistakable charisma. By the age of 21, Dolly's journey took another decisive turn when she began collaborating with Porter Wagoner, a well-known figure in American country music. Their partnership proved mutually transformative. Wagoner's established platform provided Dolly with exposure and credibility, while her fresh talent and distinct voice revitalized his career, a fact later acknowledged by his daughter, Deborah Wagner. Together, they achieved widespread acclaim, performing hit duets that captured audiences nationwide and solidified Dolly's presence in the country music scene. Despite the success of the collaboration, Dolly's vision extended beyond shared achievements. Her dreams of a solo career burned brightly, and she understood that her destiny required a path of her own making. After 7 years of collaboration, she would eventually part ways with Wagoner, writing "I Will Always Love You" as both a farewell and a testament to her enduring respect for the man who had helped launch her career. During these formative years, Dolly Parton was more than a rising star. She was a young woman learning to navigate ambition, artistry, and the demands of a public eye that seemed to grow ever more focused on her. Monument Records, Dumb Blonde, her debut album, and the years alongside Porter Wagoner were not just career milestones, they were the crucible in which Dolly's enduring identity as a country music icon was forged. Through it all, she honed her voice, perfected her charm, and began crafting the legacy she continues to build today, blending talent, determination, and vision into a story that would resonate for decades to come. But who could have guessed the bold decision that would redefine her public image forever? Keep watching to find out. Dolly Parton, Beyond the Spotlight. By the late 1970s, Dolly Parton had evolved from rising country star to an unstoppable cultural force. In 1978, she made a bold move that shook pop culture. She agreed to pose for Playboy after previously declining. Wearing the iconic bunny outfit and sitting for a candid interview with Lawrence Grobel, Dolly demonstrated full control of her image and a fearless willingness to challenge expectations. The public response was massive. Her figure became so iconic that when scientists cloned the first mammal from an adult cell, a sheep, they named it Dolly in her honor, proving her persona had transcended music and entered cultural legend. Dolly's allure, however, was far more than physical. Her talent, energy, and natural charisma allowed her to transition seamlessly from stage to screen. In 1980, she made her film debut in the hit comedy 9 to 5, alongside Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, and Dabney Coleman. Despite having limited acting experience, Dolly's enthusiasm and warmth shone through every scene. On set, she didn't rest between takes. She channeled her energy into songwriting, composing tunes during downtime. One of these songs became the movie's theme song, eventually reaching #1 on both pop and country charts. This dual achievement not only highlighted her versatility as an entertainer, but also cemented her status as a cross-genre powerhouse, a performer capable of captivating audiences with music, humor, and undeniable personality. Her presence on the set reflected the same magnetism that had drawn fans to her early performances in the Smoky Mountains, blending authenticity with stagecraft in a way few could replicate. Even as her professional star soared, Dolly never lost sight of her personal ambitions and the family who had shaped her values. As her career took off, she fulfilled childhood promises to give back to those who had sacrificed for her. Her father, Robert Lee Parton, received a big blue truck, an emblem of pride and appreciation, while her mother, Avi Lee, was gifted a new Cadillac, a tangible symbol of gratitude for her lifelong love and guidance. Though both have passed, these vehicles remain cherished mementos of the family's enduring bond, reminding Dolly and those who know her of the roots from which her remarkable career grew. Through these years, Dolly Parton demonstrated an extraordinary balance of ambition, creativity, and generosity. She navigated fame and public scrutiny with intelligence, courage, and warmth. From the provocative allure of Playboy to the laughter, music, and social commentary of 9 to 5, she proved that success did not require compromising identity or values. Each choice, whether a daring photo shoot or a chart-topping song, reflected her vision. A woman who could expand her artistry while remaining deeply connected to her roots. Dolly's career became a blueprint for navigating the demands of fame with grace, humor, and generosity, blending personal fulfillment with professional innovation. Her life in this era shows a multi-dimensional artist whose influence reached far beyond music, leaving an indelible mark on culture, fashion, and even science, while reminding the world that talent and heart can coexist with ambition, audacity, and joy. Before exploring her wider legacy, it's important to note how Dolly Parton uplifted her hometown and personal life with the same dedication she brought to her music. Dollywood and a life less ordinary. Dolly Parton's story is not just about music and fame. It is also about roots, legacy, and the quiet power of vision. In 1986, she took a bold step that would transform both her hometown and her career by investing in Silver Dollar City, a struggling theme park founded in 1961. Far from being a passive owner, Dolly immersed herself in revitalizing the park, overseeing renovations, new attractions, and entertainment offerings. Later that same year, the park reopened under a new name, Dollywood, a tribute not just to her fame, but to her deep connection to Tennessee and the communities that nurtured her. Spanning over 1,150 acres and employing more than 4,000 people, Dollywood has grown into a cornerstone of the region, offering everything from high-speed roller coasters to water parks, private shows, and live performances, blending fun with the warmth of Dolly's unmistakable charm. By 2010, the park had earned global recognition, being named one of the best amusement parks in the world at a prominent industry event in Orlando, Florida, further cementing Parton's reputation as a cultural icon who could merge business acumen with heartfelt investment in her community. While Dollywood became a public celebration of Dolly's energy and vision, her personal life has remained a model of quiet dedication and enduring love. Since 1966, she has shared her life with Carl Thomas Dean, a man who prefers the comforts of privacy over public attention. Despite over 50 years of marriage, the couple has been photographed together only rarely, a choice that Parton honors out of respect for Dean's wishes. Their relationship thrives on contrasts. Dolly often says, "We're completely opposite, but that's what makes it fun," highlighting the playful balance that has kept them close for decades. The pair maintain separate homes on their expansive Tennessee property, a deliberate strategy that allows them both space and individuality while nurturing a shared life. This approach, part mystery and part devotion, reveals the careful thought behind the public and private sides of Dolly Parton's life. Together, Dollywood and her marriage illustrate a broader principle that has guided Dolly throughout her life. Success and fulfillment do not come solely from talent or ambition. They emerge from thoughtful choices, respect for others, and the courage to invest personally in the things you love. In her career, she has taken risks that have reshaped music, entertainment, and tourism. In her marriage, she has embraced a philosophy of balance, independence, and mutual respect. From the lively energy of her theme park to the serene strength of her marital life, Dolly has shown that living fully requires both bold public gestures and quiet personal wisdom. The intertwining of these paths, the public spectacle and the private sanctuary, reveals a woman whose influence reaches far beyond the stage, whose commitments touch lives in tangible ways, and whose story is a masterclass in sustaining passion, love, and vision simultaneously. So, what surprising truth keeps her glow so timeless even now? Stick around to see. Dolly Parton, ageless energy and unstoppable drive. At 79, Dolly Parton continues to radiate a vitality that leaves fans and critics alike wondering how she maintains such youthfulness and charm. Her secret, she admits, is a combination of habits and honesty. A balanced diet and regular exercise play a role in her daily routine. But Dolly is refreshingly candid about another factor: the help of her skilled cosmetic surgery team. "Because I'm in the public eye, I don't mind who knows what I get done," she once said. "If I see something sagging, dragging, or baggying, I've had it sucked, tucked, or plucked." Her transparency reflects a no-shame approach to self-care, one that allows her to embrace both natural beauty and modern enhancements without hesitation. Yet her youthful appearance is only part of the story. Dolly's energy extends far beyond aesthetics. While many Americans consider retirement around age 62, she has shown no interest in slowing down. In recent years, she has remained remarkably active, touring to promote her album Pure and Simple, mentoring emerging artists on The Voice, and lending her voice and resources to philanthropic efforts. In 2016 alone, she raised over $9 million for victims of wildfires in Tennessee, exemplifying a commitment to giving back that matches her career-long dedication to entertaining the world. Dolly's secret may not be just diet, exercise, or even surgery. It is the relentless combination of passion, purpose, and perseverance. She balances the demands of a global career with charitable work, personal projects, and the constant creation of music that resonates across generations. Every appearance, performance, and act of generosity underscores the same truth. Dolly Parton is propelled not merely by routine, but by an enduring drive to stay active, relevant, and connected to the people and causes she loves. Her energy is both a lifestyle and a statement, demonstrating that age is not a limit, but a stage for reinvention, influence, and boundless possibility. Dolly Parton, a legacy of love, music, and influence. Dolly Parton's life is a remarkable blend of talent, dedication, and heart. While her music has earned her millions of album sales and a trophy collection that includes multiple Grammys, Emmys, and other prestigious awards, it is the depth of her influence that truly sets her apart. Beyond the studio and the stage, Dolly has inspired generations of artists across pop and country music, with many contemporary stars citing her as a key influence in their own creative journeys. Her ability to connect with audiences, both through her songs and her personality, has cemented her status as one of America's most cherished entertainers. Equally notable was her enduring marriage to Carl Thomas Dean, which lasted nearly 59 years. The couple wed on May 30, 1966, and remained together until Dean's passing on March 3, 2025. Despite his preference for staying out of the public eye, their marriage became one of Hollywood's most celebrated long-term partnerships. Throughout their decades together, they valued personal space and independence, often residing in separate homes on their sprawling Tennessee property. Dolly frequently credited this balance as a key to their enduring bond, illustrating how love can thrive alongside mutual respect and freedom. Dolly's legacy extends far beyond personal achievements. Her philanthropic work demonstrates a dedication to giving back, with efforts spanning education, disaster relief, and community development. These acts of generosity, combined with her musical and cultural impact, have made her a figure beloved not just for her talent, but for her humanity. Whether recognized for her chart-topping hits, her magnetic presence, or her genuine care for others, Dolly Parton embodies a rare combination of artistry and empathy. Her story is not simply one of fame or success. It is a life defined by influence, resilience, and the unwavering ability to touch hearts across generations. Through music, love, and service, Dolly continues to inspire, leaving an imprint that stretches far beyond the stage and into the lives of those who admire her. So, what do you think makes Dolly Parton's influence and legacy so enduring? Her music, her love, or her generosity? We'd like to hear your thoughts, and don't forget to share your answer below.